July the 28th, the day of 2026. Good morning. A warm welcome to KBC News Tech. Many thanks indeed for joining us. And for the next 2 hours also, we will be looking at what has been shaping up the news conversation in the country as usual. And we know well a lot has been happening. We have had a lot of rallies and, of course, coming out of a by-election. But today we do examine Kenya's biggest governance question. Are youth really included in leadership, or are they merely represented? This is something that we have seen. We do not have enough or sufficient youth in leadership positions, and that needs to change. And when we talk about meaningful youth inclusion, how should it look like? Who is responsible for making it happen? That is the live discussion that we'll be having this morning. Many thanks for joining us. I'm Njue. Lucy Mora is my co-anchor on the sign language interpretation. And allow me, without further ado, to introduce my panel of experts this morning. Beginning from my immediate left, we have then Canon Dr. Scholar Wayua. Dr. Wayua is a lecturer at St. Paul's University. Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Good to see you again.
Thank you too.
Just next to her, we have Honorable M. Gwen, Member of Parliament, Lelmengit Joseph Kipto. Karibu sana at the program.
Thank you.
And we also do expect Honorable Senator Hezena Lematian, and also we are expecting Frida Mongare, who is a youth leader. Of course, we do value your participation in this program. Remember, we are live from our social media spaces as well as KBC Broadcasting House in the county of Nairobi. Welcome. Perhaps to begin with you, Dr. In one sentence, what does meaningful youth inclusion governance mean to you?
Thank you very much, my brother, even for this opportunity again. What I would say in a nutshell is that creating meaningful youth opportunities for young people is, of course, to enable or to give space to young people to participate in a decision making, and at least to be in a positive and health leadership spaces. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Mheshimiwa, I'm looking at the 13th Parliament, yes, and you're one of the youthful members of Parliament, and I'm glad that you're here this morning. In one sentence, what do you believe that meaningful youth inclusion in governance mean? Being a leader who has been elected as a youthful leader.
Okay. The youth, to my understanding, it's more of youth participation in leadership, mm-hmm, in leadership, in decision-making process, mm-hmm, and also in a political field, being responsible in a way that politics has public interest, deals with public money, and there's a lot of accountability. And with accountability comes a lot of criticism, participation, ideas. They say no one has monopoly of ideas. With the experiences that we've had already built up, it would be necessary also for the youth to be involved in the same process. And I would think that could mean the whole thing of youth participation in politics.
Mm. Yes. And you'll be telling us how many youth can join you in Parliament as we head to the 2027 general election.
Yes.
Doc, is youth exclusion a political problem, or is it something that we as a society, we do not trust our very young people with the governance and leadership as well?
One of the issues that we should start off with, mm-hmm, is knowing that the young people form a significant population or percentage of the Kenyan population. Mm-hmm. That's something that goes without debate, mm-hmm, that we have a majority of the population of Kenya being the young people. Mm-hmm. And of course, even amidst mid-ages, they are the people who are also in the industry. They are the people who are also very active. And so the young people are significant. And of course, they have a part to play, a very key, important part to play. And of course, they are also the people affected by unemployment. They are the people affected by, technology issues, climate change, and even sometimes education and mental health. So I think there's no way we can say we put aside the young people. It is something that we need to engage with. Yeah.
Mheshimiwa, looking at the current political system, does it genuinely create spaces for young leaders like you?
Yes, and Njue, you know, in political leadership, it involves a lot of persuasion, it involves a lot of convincing, and it is high time that the youth take up those spaces. Because not only do people look at the age as a young person or an old age, but they also want to see the substance that you are made of, like the experience, what you're bringing on the table. They want to see also the future that you can take the people to. So if you convince enough, then you might be re-elected and be given that opportunity. According to me right now, I think, yes, government has given out an opportunities for leadership. However, it is really challenging. It's not easy for a youth to get into a political leadership because it might involve a lot of financing, it involves a lot of experience within the same field, and you realize that most of our youth and ourselves somehow might not have had that experience because you can't try something once and you get it. It can happen, yes, but you have to repeatedly try until you get it. So I think we still have a gap where the youth can still feel in leadership. Yes.
Doc, is having young leaders the same as giving them power? Because sometimes you will find the older generation, they are kind of skeptical about giving the young people an opportunity to lead, owing to, of course, lack of experience, owing to the young age. Is giving young leaders an opportunity the same as giving them power?
Giving young people opportunities may or may not be the same as giving them leadership. Because sometimes, like my brother has just said, you may find there's somewhere where there needs a leader. Probably it is through an interview or so. And just like he has said, you are asked for 5 years experience, for example. That will not be giving the young people opportunity because you're coming from the university or you're just entering the market and you don't have experience. On the political arena also, we also have to know that the generations are changing. And I would want to say that whatever I've seen with the young people, it is proving that they have now realized that it is only maybe through the ballot that you can really get a leader. So the generation we have, because it goes with the generations. Previously, probably people would not think that having the leaders, young people, is also giving them opportunity. But I want to say, and to repeat it again, having young people on board is not the same as giving them leadership position because there are so many hindrances that probably might face the young people.
Mheshimiwa, allow me to pick where Doc has left in regards to might not have money. And let's be very honest, our elections in Kenya are very, very expensive, and as well as our politics as well. So is politics too expensive for young people? Owing to a practical example, like the youthful members of parliament who have been able to crack that space and being able to become leaders. How do they manage? Because let's be very honest, we've seen in Ol Kalou, people giving 10 shillings, 20 shillings. We've seen in some of the rallies, people talking about to give even if it's a shilling for your campaigns.
Okay. Now, mine might be different from other experiences because maybe for Ol Kalou is a different case. But let me speak about Njue. Allow me to speak about my experience.
Yes.
Politics somehow is an investment. Leadership is an investment. If you have the vision to lead, if you have the vision to give direction to the population, to the people, you have to invest. Invest in your time, invest in your few resources, even sacrificing families and stuff. Now, it depends, because for my case, I went out there to the people, asked for their votes, explained my experience, the plan that I would want to take them to, what I have done before, involved in public I would say CSRs across, and community participation, and what was my vision. And for me, it wasn't expensive as what people would put, that politics is expensive. I needed to fuel my car. I needed to move around, get some airtime, because you need publicity. You need to meet a few people to talk to. You need to organize for some venues at some point. So those are some of the expenses that are part in a parcel of politics. Now, so it depends with your approach. There are people who get elected without even putting posters online. We've seen people who come in unopposed without giving out money. Yeah. It's there, it's happening in Kenya. So it's not necessarily that you must have money. But because of the culture that we have, the culture that Kenyans have already, every time they see a politician, they see money. Probably because a few politicians have shown them that way, and so everyone thinks that when you see a politician, you must get something from a politician. But we still have many people, especially the elderly, who still focus on the development agenda, who still focus on the leadership that is decent and is meaningful. Yes.
For the young lady or young man who is watching you right now and wants to crack the 2027 or to hack that, what exactly can you advise them in regards to how you financed your campaigns?
I would advise for any young Kenyan, any young youthful leader who would want to try political leadership. People don't just see age. They see what you are made of. They want to see you're honest. They want to see your strategy. It's about being strategic. What kind of difference are you bringing on board? And if you convince them very well, they are going to listen to you. It's not about finances. And even if it's about finances, the people who will have seen you coming through, seeing your experiences, seeing your agenda, your strategy, you will get a lot of support along the way. So give it a try. Don't just look at the finances. It's just like starting any businesses. You're always being told that you must have a good strategic plan, you must have a good business plan. It's similar in politics. And the money will just come in, a few money to facilitate you along the way. And you don't need a lot of money. Yes.
Yeah, I think a number of Kenyans would want to actually follow that script, because we see a lot of money being splashed out during campaigns. And sometimes you find that money always sometimes triumphs over good leaders. Doc, you're also a scholar, and I'm looking at leadership skills that we're inculcating in our young men and women. Are they being developed early enough, or are we just waiting for first, you clear high school, you go through the university, you want to venture into politics. Now then you start looking for mentors like Mheshimiwa.
Okay, from the academia.
Yes.
I want to take you back to even the primary, the CBC, or even the primary school, the junior school, the senior school, and also the university. All along, we have, I would say that now we are in the academia, we have a way that we are making the young people or the young leaders, because you are seeing, although now they are not called presidents in the university, of course they are chairpersons, and you will find a young person who is in grade 4 or grade 6, wanting to fight for a position in the school to lead the others. In the secondary school or in the senior school now, as we call it now, we are also seeing people who are coming out, young people, students who are coming out, and of course they are saying, I want to become a leader. I want to be the library leader. I want to be the school captain or the chairman of the school. And again, we go to university. We have now the delegate system of choosing leaders. And you find that these people start being built and forming as early as in primary school, as early as in grade 1. Somebody wants to be the prefect of the class. This is leadership, Njue. And I want to believe that some of people who have been prefects in school or even, president in schools, they have also become leaders. I was a head girl, and here I am. I'm also in a particular leadership in the church and also in the university. St. Paul's University is my university. Yes.
Yeah, thank you so much indeed for that, because Mheshimiwa, you bear me witness that when it comes to leadership skills, I think we are beginning to do that a little bit later. But allow me first and foremost to also add one of our panelists. Karibu sana, welcome to the program. We are now joined by Frida Mongare, who is a youth leader. And as you wait for you to compose your thoughts on what meaningful youth inclusion governance would mean for you as a Gen Z and also as an aspiring leader. Allow me to rope in Mheshimiwa in regards to leadership skills being developed early. Some of the politicians that we see in the country, the likes of James Orengo, the likes of Babu Owino, we know very well they were student leaders when they were in the varsity. And okay, we do not know about the primary and the secondary education, whether they were still leaders, but aren't we taking so long to inculcate leadership skills in our kids? I know a few schools have done some amendments to how they operate things. Maybe, they have a school president, they do elections. Even some are monitored by the IEBC. Are we taking so long to inculcate leadership skills in our young people?
Yes. Thank you, Njue. I think it is a competitive kind of process because we have several leaders across board. You don't need to be a leader. You don't need to be a political leader to be called a leader. We have leadership at different levels. Even the youth that has that kasingira or a kahat at his own place, who has a key and a gufuli, is a leader in his own background. If he says, "Will not open this door," no one will open it. So leadership starts from way far. And we've had prefects. Most of the politicians that we are together in parliament, almost half of those leaders have been leaders before.
You included?
Yes, somehow I had some leadership role way back in high school. But in the university, no, I think I considered myself a kingmaker because I participated in
but you were still very
campaigns
active then.
And something. Yes, I think I participated in putting someone to becoming a leader. But then now we have all those prefects, leaders at different levels, but you see there are many. You will only find that a few of those will emerge political leaders in the end because there's a lot of competition along the way. So once as a parent you've realized that these, or as leaders, we've realized that we have young leaders who are upcoming leaders with good visions and ability to lead, I think it's high time for us to nurture, bring them on board and tag them along. Yes.
Frida, welcome to the program again. And do you feel young people are well represented now as opposed to how they were represented a few years ago? I'm also throwing in a spanner in the works. After the Gen Z protest, we did see a lot of young men and women now come out to say that we are also ripe to be leaders. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Ben Troy. Thank you for the opportunity of having me on board this morning. To your question, when you're saying before and now, now means the current regime that we have or the current government, and former means through the years. While Article 55 states that youths should be involved in representations, that is in the Kenyan Constitution, I'd say that we have not fully met that particular article as to what it states, because then talking about the current government, and of course since the Gen Z protest, that I'd say that was our Sabasaba day of our time, because you were not there back in the years.
Yes.
So we had, I'd say at least in the State Department, we have at least two people that I'd call youthful or are face of the youth. Yet remember that the biggest demographic that covers the Kenyan population is the youth, at least 75%. But we have two that I could mention with my, in my head. We have Fikirini Jacobs, who was brought on board right after the Gen Z movement. We have Sylvia Musea for the tourism department. So this
you also
only
have CS Muga.
Yes, Muga. Actually, Muga is a good friend of mine. So this is at least 3, which could form at least 7% or 7%. A mega 7% out of the 100 possible, really. When we have at least 50 to 51 departments, this still tells you that youths are involved as a symbol rather than actual representation, because then when it comes to involvement into campaigns, into pushing for a certain agenda, we have youthful faces on board. They are jovial, wamechangamka kabisa, but when it comes to policy formulation, decision making in the table on issues that actually affect them, then you only see 1 or 2 out of the many seats possible that we could have. At least let's have, if it's we should be talking about 30% than 7%, really.
Mheshimiwa, allow me to pick where Frida has left in regards to political parties. Allow me to point out your party leader, President William Ruto. Allow me also to point out the likes of the late former Premier, Raila Odinga. We know very well there are some politicians who have scaled the height just because they have been associated with these leaders, and big political parties as well. Do you believe political parties and political leaders in those parties genuinely are nurturing young people?
Yes, to me...
or even mentoring them?
Yes, to me, Njue, it is, mentorship is relative. If you ask me, yes, we have programs on youth mentorship. They might not be necessarily strategic to only leaders, but general leadership of youth, not only political leaders. And for me, I think I consider the President, His Excellency William Samoei Ruto, a very good mentor. And you've heard him speak many a time saying we need to mentor leaders, mentor youth. And specifically, I am one of the people who I feel like is mentoring me. Because every time we meet, every time we talk about issues, you need to use your CDF wisely, properly, and stuff. I've seen him mentor, I would say, senior leaders, senior than me, like previously, Kina Ndindi Nyoro, Kina Kimani Ichung'wah, in some place, to take up positions. You've seen even in Parliament, we have very young chairmen who have taken up positions, like the chairman for finance, a young leader who is a youthful leader, basically 35 years or 36 years old. And he's been a chairman for finance. Finance is a very powerful committee in this country. And he's so concerned in mentoring those leaders. And you've heard him speak about it every time, that, hey, you need to be mentored this way. Even on the other members who are opposition sometimes, who fight these young leaders, you've heard him every time question about the same. So for me, I think he's a very good mentor. And what we need to bring out is bring it out openly on the discussion that, hey, guys, if you have a political leadership, probably we come in and support those mentorship programs for the youth. Otherwise, on the political leadership. Otherwise, on mentorship, you've seen the programs that the government are running right now, all the way from Nyota, on businesses, on Uwezo Fund, on Youth Fund, going forward. Those are mentorship in terms of entrepreneurs and business leaders. Okay.
Allow me to pick from where Mheshimiwa has left, which is a very valid point in regards to the mentorship that he has talked about, the likes of the President mentoring him, and we are seeing more or less like passing of the baton, but we are talking about teaching leadership. You're a scholar. How can we inculcate this in the young people? And do you believe there are some skills that are missing? Which should those gaps? Which are those gaps that we should be filling?
Thank you, Njue. And yes, speaking from where Mheshimiwa has picked, and of course now bringing it from the academia, again, as a scholar, because that is my area as well as peace issue matters. But again, I want to say that we have spaces now for young people to be trained, and especially in the university. Like, for example, at St. Paul's University, we have a whole program for leadership, whereby, of course, you will take a bachelor's degree in leadership. And I want to believe that if this is inculcated well, and of course, well informed to the young people from the classroom, and of course with a lot of mentorship, because also at the university we also have mentorship, whereby a lecturer picks a student away from even the classroom or the academics. You work with a particular student. We are allocated, like for example, I give an example of St. Paul's University. We are actually allocated like 5 or 10 students who come from different faculties and schools, to work with them, to mentor them in matters of spirituality, because again, that is also a very important mentorship, and also in leadership. They get it in the classroom, but again, we also become role models, because I want to believe that when the young people see the people who are ahead of them, like the lecturers who are training them, or maybe the political leaders, when they look at them, or even the parents, the teachers, they look at them and they also have to learn something, not only in class, but also through role modeling. So I want to believe that this is very possible. We are doing it in the universities, we are doing it in academia, but again, they also need to look at the community and also learn from the community as well as the church. Yeah. Everyone has a duty to play in mentoring young people to become whatever they are to become in the future. Yes.
Frida, what discourages young people from contesting in elections? And I'm saying this because look at the 2022 election, look at the by-elections that we've had since 2022. You know, Gen Z, you came out and you were loud enough. We heard you that we really need our space now. But what is discouraging them? Because I've covered by-elections after that, and even looking at the people who are contesting, very few young people. Other than that, they do not come out in large numbers to vote. We did see even the mass voter registration exercise. We didn't get the numbers that we expected after the Gen Z revolution.
Thanks for the good question, Troy. But before I go ahead, I'd like to build up on what our academician here has mentioned, and of course, Mheshimiwa. While you used a good word when you said relative, I mean, mentorship is relative, because we've seen historically, most of the people that sit in parliament have gone through the hands of their senior leaders to find themselves there. That one I agree. But currently, there is none you can say, I mean, you can give the same story as of what happened back in the days if you use the likes of Babu Owino and any other that you'd mention. Because good word, good choice of word, relative, because I've seen student leaders, very promising young leaders from universities, across all universities, be it TUM, be it the University of Nairobi, be it Kenyatta University, and even JKUAT. We have very young and promising leaders, and we see how vibrant they are, the energy, the numbers, the momentum they have. But right after graduation, where do these people go to? That's a question you should ask yourself, because then out here, you would never hear about them until something unfortunate happens, or at least for the few, the lucky ones that God amewapatia ile grace nzuri, ndio nakuja kushanga, oh, this happened of you, this happened of you. But most of the times, unfortunate stories is what will have you remember a particular character from student leadership. Why is this the case? Lack of mentorship, lack of real mentorship, because then our leaders have come to a point where they just have young people for optics. They appear in their offices, visit KICC or even Bunge Towers, take a photo, and they are done, out they go to post photos, and that is all. I mean, they, and again, they write very good captions to say how they interacted with Mheshimiwa and told them good nuggets of wisdom. Then what? So our leaders have reduced young people, promising leaders, into being what? Just there for the photos and the small handouts ya kujishikilia wakitoka. Because recently, the president, William Ruto, made a certain post about a young student leader that died in TUM. A very good guy. And we've seen it. Young people are also celebrating him. While he lived, he was vibrant. But from reading that caption, I felt really bad and even made a post about it and had conversations going online about the same. Why is it that these young leaders, if you spotted him and you thought he was good, he was fit, you couldn't take them up. You couldn't take them up and mentor them directly or even assist them in any sort of way. It's until they've died that now you are saying, oh, he was a promising leader. Promising, you didn't see it. You are seeing it now, or it was there since then. You see? So that is the gap I'd say we are having. We are having a lack of proper mentorship. Well, relative is a word, but I'd say real mentorship should have real impact. Back to the question you had asked me. The barriers that young people are facing in their quest to pursue political positions. I mean, the quick ones that you can even think about, finances. While I was just getting in, Mheshimiwa was answering your question and said, finances is not the real issue. If you have your problem, I mean, if you think you're fit, go to the people, talk to them, and they will listen to you. But we have a lot of politicians currently who are pushing the narrative that kama hauna pesa, wewe sahau nini? Siasa. And if you can get that from an elected member of parliament, saying that, and we have young people who are facing the very, very challenge that they cannot access these positions if at all their pockets are what? Imetoboka, kuna kitu. So, and again, I mean, it takes me back in my days in uni. There's a word they used to say, if you're a needy student, please don't come any close to what? To politics, because it required money. Same thing has graduated even into the national politics. If you do not have funds, you cannot run for any position, because then this is what we have defined our society, politics, to being pesa, siasa ya pesa, si siasa ya ideology. People are not listening to what you have to offer them. You can buy them for the moment, and I mean this even goes out to even our people out there in various constituency wards and even across the country. If you can actually be bought by that small amount of money they would give you at that time, what then should be said of you? Because 5 years you will pay for that amount of money. You are bought. So I mean, you have no. If they paid you, it was transactional and it was instant and deal sealed. So you have no point. You have to ask for accountability or ask for any facilities or amenities to be brought to you, because then you focused on what they had to offer at the moment. So that is the first challenge young people are facing. Young people are not yet financially stable. So then they have to coil back and go back into their cocoons, because they cannot appear in front of people if they do not have money and looking flamboyant and flashy like the current lot of politicians that we have. Then secondly, young people are still, of course, struggling with the mentorship. It's still an issue, because then we need leaders. We are grooming leaders for tomorrow. And tomorrow is actually now. These days, young people are not talking about leadership, ya kesho, kesho kutwa, mamtondo na mtondo go. They are talking about today. Youths are coming out to run for positions. But again, they are told, you know, the easiest way to politics, you need to get a political party. That is the immediate will or a tool that can have you get access to real power, which is good. I too advise that young people get into political parties that resonate with you. Their ideologies, their party manifestos, and everything that they offer is what you stand for. But again, in these very political parties that you have sent the young people to go to, they are facing other challenges there. So a political party handing out tickets, nomination tickets, are not handed evo tuati because we think you're competent, you're given. Political parties have politics within them. So young people are still facing the challenge of people that have been there, wamebobea kwa hiyo kiwanja, wamefanyia mheshimiwa kazi for a very long time, ama so let's say the political party chairperson or party leader. Then youths are being suppressed, because then you just arrived. You can't come and want to climb the ladder, leaving every other person out there. So nomination tickets, still a problem that young people are facing. Then, of course, I'd say, I mean, there's a lot of challenges that young people are facing within political parties and outside political parties when they want to run for a position and they are told, you know, you lack experience. And you see here now, there's a paradox, a very huge paradox of experience, because then you're told you have no experience. How are you to get experience if you're not given a chance to participate for you to get the experience? Because then you apply, and actually it's even out here when you apply for corporate. You just finished uni 2 to 3 years ago. They're asking, a position is asking you of 7 years of experience. Yet, young people are struggling to get attachments, struggling to get internships, struggling to even volunteer. You want to volunteer, bado hakuna hata places to volunteer for that. And even if you volunteer, until how long? Because then you need to do sustenance, you need to sustain yourself. So politically, you are asked, you lack experience. A young person says, okay, where do I get the experience? There are no places to learn the nitty-gritties of politics for them to come then and engage with the older generation. I think that would be my submission.
Yes, Mheshimiwa, you wanted to add something?
Yes, I wanted to add something. You know, as I also saw the posting that the president made on a youthful leader who passed on.
Yeah.
And, you know, with the responsibility, it's a different thing to look at it, spectate, and also to be in that position. I would like in the next conversations I will go ahead is that so that I can also give my experiences. As a leader, if I put myself in the position of the president right now, it is really difficult because of the responsibility that you have, unless there are serious mechanisms on mentoring specifically the political leadership. Because I want to agree with my friend here, Frida, on the same issue. But politics and mentorship of political leaders, you must be a go-getter, Just like any business, we have many people with sharp ideas in businesses, but you realize that only a few pursue the businesses, and even fewer will only succeed. So it is very competitive. And I would like to urge the youth out there that if you feel like you have that opportunity or that capability to join into leadership, please attach yourself to someone, your mentor, someone you think that you resonate in terms of ideas. You attach yourself to that kind of person. And you cannot be a leader if you don't accept to be led. Personally, I was a kingmaker all through college, even after university, kinda kingmaker, because I used to blog for my senator, Nandi Senator Cherargei, all the way. And somehow I got an opportunity to be closer to him like his PA for about a year. So I learned from it. Had I not given myself to be led and learn from the same leader, probably I would not be sitting in the same position. So look for that opportunity, stay close, and don't hurry. It will take time. You cannot be that leader immediately. So it takes time, and we appreciate the experiences that Kenya has been built by previous leaders, our forefathers. We cannot just wake up today and expect things to change like we just erupted as youth. We have to appreciate how leadership has been built all the way with the experiences, because leadership is so wide, government is so wide. When I came in recently, I thought I had different expectations. Previously, when I was in university, when people were demonstrating here in Nairobi streets, Parliament, I don't want to mention names, but we used to call members of Parliament pigs, doing placards and wherever, calling them pigs or whatever, they're very corrupt and stuff like that. I was part of them. But getting in there, now I'm in the group that people call them pigs. So I thought when I was coming in there, I thought I would come ask for roads, ask for electricity, ask for water, and grab it, take it to my people. But getting here, things are totally different. There is a finance bill, there is budget, there is lobbying, there is seniority. You in different positions that we have, like the PSS, the CSS, there are other friends who came in, like the ranking members, who came in probably 15 years ago. So because there's a lot of lobbying, it would be, and a friend who came in 15 years ago could easily be knowing Njue. And like me, who came in recently, I still need to find my way out, which buttons to press so that something can be done. So we have to appreciate that as youth. Similarly to issues of diplomacy. And I see some of our young leaders who really want to aspire to become a president, to become a member of parliament, without enough probably experience learning through the process. You have to for you to be a good leader, you have to accept to be led. Because there are issues of diplomacy, there are issues of, so we need experience. That's why I always say no one has monopoly of ideas. Na kama hata ukiwa mwerefu namna gani, huwezi kuwa mwerefu kushinda babako. To mean, we need to accept the experiences that are being put forward by our forefathers. Okay, thank you.
Before you go ahead, Troy, I'd like to comment on what Mheshimiwa has said. from what he's saying, he was outside, then got in,
Yeah.
and got the real scope of, oh, this
Yeah.
is what actually happens. So I'm torn between two words. Is he frustrated, or has he been colonized into being what the MPs are currently? Because we were calling them MPs while he was with us, but then got in there, and now he's like, oh, these are how things are going. So is he submitting his frustrations?
No.
Or has he been colonized?
Allow him
Njue.
to respond to that,
Okay.
because
I had a lot of expectations, thinking that, you know, it's just the way when you are out there watching a game as a spectator, you are a very good player.
yes,
But when you are given to play, to kick the ball, you don't even aim on the target.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So there are many things that I feel like I was inexperienced the day I was elected.
Yeah,
And there's a lot of experience right now.
the same as
the way-
marriage, you know.
Yes,
it
yes.
looks so rosy
Yes,
from the
yes.
outside
So,
until you.
so what now I'm saying is there are many things that you need. It is not that easy. It is not just a rosy flower. No.
Yes.
So there's a lot of effort that you need to put forward. So
yeah.
that is what I just wanted to mention. So there are many things it's not like I've been radicalized or something. No, things are different because it is a big responsibility that people have given us, and it deals with public interest, public money. There's a lot of accountability, and that is why there's always criticism. Hey, you've not used our money well, you've not done this. But I want to appreciate government, led by His Excellency the President. Everything now is online. If you see even the budgets that we do for CDF, NGCDF, if we see budgetary allocations for any other government institution, they are online, because we have to be transparent and accountable. And that calls for criticism. So once you criticize things that are wrong, it doesn't mean that everything is straight.
Yeah.
There are things that are bent, there are things that are not going right, and that is why there is room for criticism. So things that we see it's been criticized and needs to be corrected, we correct. Sometimes criticism are a bit of propaganda and lies. So you leave those ones aside and you go with the right ones, you make things and make the right decisions. Thank you.
Doc, you wanted to add something on that, because I want to ask, let's be honest, the youth have a number of things that really strike out. They have the numbers, they have the energy, they have the voice. But when it comes to, they can decide, the youth today can decide that Honorable Kiptoo will be our next president. And nobody can dispute that, because they have the voice, they have the energy, they have the power for the campaigns, and they have the numbers. But they are not, you know, electing their own into position. I know Frida is really waiting for that question, but I would want you to pick your mind in regards to that. Are they their own enemies? Because they can actualize everything that they are talking about.
Okay, thank you, Joe and Njue and colleagues. I want just before answering that question, just to say that in the current situation or in the modern times, we can see that the voice of the young people, or the voice of the young people, is increasingly, you know, being reflected and seen. And yes, I would not say that the youths are their own enemies. But I want to say that, just borrowing from what Frida said, is that, and of course, the same sentiment also, Honorable has also mentioned, that there is the lack of mentorship. I would still go back to lack of mentorship. But at the same time, also say that there's also the issue of money and the issue of financing of this issue, the political issues. But the whole idea is that when you decide, when you know or you realize that it is not through political you know, issues of giving money or wooing young people, if young people can realize that it is, they can take a stand as young people. And it is not just about saying we are raising Honorable Kiptoo or another person, but at least we look at what agenda does this person have? What is the ability of this person? And of course, ni sera za aina gani ambazo anauza. So we need to look at the strategies. We need also to look at what is the base of this person and what actually does this particular person. We are moving, and we should move from the era of just electing people just because probably they are coming from a particular community or they are affiliated to a particular party. But again, we need to look at what strategy, what is the input of this person, what is this person saying, and what is he or she able to do? Not just because this is my person, the favorite person, I have to go for this person, come rain, come what. But I want to talk to the young people out there that it is about the time that you realize that coming and just saying we will vote. And then during the time of voting, probably we are not seeing the young people. So it is one thing to say and one thing to do. So young people, as I started by saying, they form a good percentage. And Frida mentioned 75% and even over. They are well able to do that. But again, the issue of the politics of, I am just going for this person because he has given me this amount of money or he has given me this support should not be in the modern times. Because somebody gives you, like for example, 500 shillings or even 100 shillings or whatever kind of money he gives you or she gives you, you elect that person. But then again, in the near future, you feel that, the 500 shillings, it's like I sold my birth rate, or I did not do the right choice. So I just want to say, young people are well able, but again, they also need to do positive or to do politics which are positive and democratic.
Frida, still, I would want you to respond to that because 75%, you have the numbers, you have the age, but looking at even the demographics themselves by IEBC, the young generation are not coming out to vote, they're not coming out to register as voters. But when it comes to the mobilization bit, actually, I think they score 100% there. Sure. So why is it that they cannot translate this into, let's decide, Frida Hana Pesa, she's one of us, but she's a good leader from what we've had her in her campaign. Let us vote for Frida. Why aren't they doing that?
Good question, Ben Troy. This suppression and sidelining of young people is systematic and strategically played by the political class, okay? You've used very good words. We have the energy, we have the age, we have the voice, and of importance, we have the numbers. But do you know where all these things are being redirected to? Goonism. The political class views these as, this is a good weapon for what? For Goonism.
Let's start with tokenism, because I believe the Goonism has just started a couple of years. But when we talk about tokenism, the first time I voted was in 2002. But there weren't so many young people at the ballot. But I'm happy that when in 2022, there were very many young people at the ballot. But looking at 2002, there was still a lot of tokenism, I can tell you that, which has now mutated to Goonism.
Goonism, exactly. So you agree with me that actually it's been there, but now they've realized, let's charge it more. Tokenism, and now invest more resources. Goonism is the word now. Beyond tokenism, they're using this energy. Young people, like the energy work now, they are being told, you see, now you can help me fight my political opponents. You can help me do this. Recruit more numbers, come with them, tuende tukafanya nini, and cause mayhem and chaos everywhere. Yet, these are numbers and energy that could be redirected into real leadership that can transform a nation. So we are rendering our young people jobless, just to ensure that we have control to have them around at our disposal. Well, I'll take you back to, the young people currently, because you've said that in 2002, the vibrancy was not as it is currently.
Those are candidates.
Yes. The last time we had an election is when? 2022.
Yes.
And I can promise you, expect more faces come 2027. Why do I give you that as an assurance or even a promise? Young people are more politically woke than they were back in the days. Young people have learned that politics is actually the central player in everything that influences their life. And I think maybe it's because most young people are very unemployed. We have a huge number of unemployed young people, and they've realized, is it to say that we went to school and now we have nowhere to practice what we did in school, and now we are seated out here, nothing to do? So they've realized for us to be assured that us or even our generations to come are safe in terms of employment, then we need a working system. How does a working system come about? Electing the right people in office. And how do we elect the right people in office? It begins with us registering as voters, recruiting ourselves, putting ourselves together, reasoning together. Young people are very woke currently. They are engaging peer-to-peer, digitally. Actually, these days, politics is digital. Young people are engaging, they're fact-checking, they're submitting petitions. I mean, everything has become so digital. Young people have known that then politics, for us to ask for change and a working system, then we have to start as recruiting ourselves and putting ourselves together and putting our thoughts together. I like to use the good examples that the former CS, Dr. Fred Matiang'i, uses most of the times. He says that for us to get a working system, we need to get the right people in office, clearing the mess. He says there's a whole mess that needs to be cleared so that our young people can engage politically. And I mean, you know, when you say that we need young people in positions of representation, not all of us can be politicians. Not all of us can climb to the ladder of politics. But we need young people that can sit in the judiciary. We need the young people that can sit in diplomacy, that can sit in committees, in state corporations. I mean, there are so many avenues that young people can sit in. It is not always about politics. There are people that are well suited and fit to compete in these other aspects that build a nation. So, of course, I mean, it is as a result of a system that is not working that has had young people to mobilize themselves and learn that we need to come together, we need to transform for change. And I'll tell you for a fact that many people within the current government, let me finish my submission.
Which systems could you give specifics on the systems that are not working and stuff?
I'll tell you.
So that I can also...
Yes, the good thing we have Njue here will help us to strengthen that.
So I've actually lost a trail of thoughts. So what I was saying is the young people have learned that for us to participate politically, we have to move together in numbers. We have to move together in ideologies and all other aspects. Because then if you follow social media, the current maybe people that are in government would subject these young people and tell them generally, siasa si ya mtandao, siasa ni ya nini? Ni ya ground, which I agree. But again, this is where we are doing civic education. This is where we are engaging and finding out who is this leader that is not doing this and that. We are fact-checking on social media so that, I mean, what is within their disposal, what is within their reach, that is what immediately think they are using to ensure that come 2027, of course, we are hopeful because if the Nikokadi campaign they were doing, we had so many young people turn up for voter registration. That is a good indicator. An indication that, okay, if they are positive about it, then would this number still reflect when it comes to 2027? When young people are on the ballot, then can we have more young people show up and vote, more than even the older generation? Yes, Mheshimiwa.
Okay. Thank you. I just wanted to mention and agree on what Frida mentioned, especially on the fact on why money is being dished out or out there by politicians. One thing that I wanted to mention is we first have to appreciate that we have different politicians of different backgrounds. We are not from the same lifestyle, and we are not from the same economic background. I wanted people out there to understand first that we have politicians who come from billionaire worth of money, families that are billionaires. There are politicians who came in from a very humble background. So the way the lifestyles of politicians, if you see politicians dashing money, live a very different lifestyle, splashy lifestyle, it doesn't mean that that is an example of all the rest of the politicians. That's the one thing first that I wanted to mention. Number two is I would like to urge the youth out there to register. Every time there's this program of Nikokadi, I would really want to them to register, because they say, there's a saying that goes, good citizens elect bad leaders by not voting. So I've seen a lot of youth who are frustrated. I've even requested, persuade some of them to do registrations, go register. They have national ID cards, but they cannot go and register. What reason? They say, my voting won't help anything. But then that is not the case. So I think we still need to do a lot of sensitization and also give them the reasons why they should really register and vote. Number two is the youth are somehow frustrated because probably they have been misinformed. The way I had also the Frida mentioning that systems are not working. Yes, systems have not been working in the past because we had a lot of unemployment. I would like for Frida also to imagine, to put herself in the shoe of the president. You've been elected today as the president of this country, and you don't have any money. The country is broke. Number two, you have a lot of debt to pay. What do you do in your position? So for me, I would always want to look at the three sides of the coin: the head, the tail, and the sides, before I make any judgment. So reasons why I'm putting that. So the president saw we don't have money. We've borrowed to the brim. We can't borrow anymore. We have to depend on ourselves. What am I going to do as the president of this country? Having 58 million Kenyans. At the moment, in 2023, for example, 2022, 2023, the exchequer's collection was 2.1 trillion. That is the money collected by KRA, 2.1 trillion. At that time, we had a recurrent expenditure of around 1 trillion, 1 trillion to 1.1 trillion recurrent expenditure. That is the money used for payment of salaries, you know, for civil servants and state officers, the doctors, the teachers, name them. We had 400 billion to give to county governments. And at that time, we had a debt of around 1.2 trillion. Basically, before we do anything, we had a deficit of 600. If you add the 1.1 trillion of the recurrent expenditure, we had a debt of around 1.2 trillion, and we had money dispersed to county governments of around 400 billion. That's 2.7 trillion. Yet the exchequer's collection was around 2.1 trillion. So we had a deficit of around 600 billion. What, as a president, what do you need to do to run and make the country move forward? The first thing, he had to cut down on expenses. We cut down, you remember we reviewed the budget.
But Mheshimiwa, we have borrowed much more in this regime than in any other regime.
No, let me continue explaining that part.
Yes.
Now, we had to sit down and look at it. You know, we had to borrow also to pay on some other loans and some kind of things. But you've seen development ongoing. So what happened? You have to, since you didn't have enough money, what other ways are you going to do to create this wealth? Now, mind you, note, from the 2.1 trillion, 1.1 trillion was going for recurrent expenditure. That means a half of the money collected by the exchequer is going towards paying salaries. A half of that money. How many people do we have in this country who are employed by government? Less than 1 million. So basically, that 1 million people in this country are spending the 1 trillion, almost half the money of this country. Half collection of the money of this country. So what did the president have to do? Yet he wanted to create employment, do housing. So he requested that because the rest of the 57 million Kenyans are contributing on these taxes, and only 1 million Kenyans are getting almost half of that money. He requested that let's focus on healthcare, because healthcare is touching all the 58 million Kenyans. So let me request for 2.75 of their taxes. Okay. Let me work on housing. Let me request for 1.5% of the salary, so that we can do housing, decent housing, and also in the process we kill 2 birds with 1 stone. We employ our youth. Because the menace that we have in this country is oversupply of human resource. Our youth have been schooled, they've studied, they are well schooled, but they don't have jobs. And this is a program that began way long almost 40 years ago because we didn't put systems in place. It's not that Kenya Kwanza government, I checked early this morning, since I was sworn in on 9th August 2022, up to date, it is 3 years, 10 months, and 29 days. Since I was sworn in as an MP, 3 years, 10 months, and 29 days. But this is the things that the president and his government has tried to work on, trying to create opportunities for our youth. And at different levels.
Yes. My director informs me we need to take a quick break. But when we come back, from what you've talked about, there's a lot. Of course, a number of Kenyans are not quite happy in regards to those opportunities. There are many opportunities, and we do commend the government. We have the Nyota, we have the Hustler funds, we've had the affordable housing, which has provided some jobs to a section of Kenyans. But on the flip side, we also need to look at the coin, just like you said, the three sides of the coin. We need to look at the third side of that coin. Well, welcome back in the next, we will be back in the next 2-3 minutes, and we will be also be welcoming Honorable Senator Hezena Lematian, who is a nominated senator. Remember, you're watching Channel 1 News Check. I'm with Honorable Lemengit Joseph Kipto, who is the Mgwen MP, and also we are also Frida Mongare, youth leader. Thank you so much. And also Canon Dr. Scholar Wanyua, a lecturer at St. Paul's University. We're talking about youth inclusion in governance. We do also want to weigh in some of your comments in our social media spaces. Let's take a quick break.
Get ready for a captivating continental football extravaganza. KBC Channel 1 brings you exclusive coverage of the 2026 Women's Africa Cup of Nations, WAFCON. From Sunday the 26th of July to Sunday the 16th of August 2026, Morocco is the battleground as Nigeria defend their title against 15 other nations fighting to lift the prestigious trophy. Who will be crowned Queens of African Football? Courtesy of the Ministry of Youth Affairs, Creative Economy and Sports. Watch all the action and rally on KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
Ni kila Ijumaa kutokea saa 1:30 mpaka saa 4 kamili. Inakuwa ni burudani kiukamilifu ya Afrika Mashariki.
Tunakupatia umbea kwa segment inaitwa The Big Story. Tunachanua what's happening in social media, msanii amefanya nini na nani.
Kando na mziki mzuri wa Afrika Mashariki, The Big Story pia anawaletea mastaa tofauti ndani ya studio. Kutoka Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, Rwanda, Burundi, yani ukanda mzima wa Afrika Mashariki.
Nakumbuka pia unaweza interact na sisi kwenye mitandao, yani social media platforms, that is Facebook, Instagram, X na hashtag ni ile tu, #WaMasharikiLive.
Tunakupa mix kali kutoka kwa DJ Kuch, muziki ya kizazi kipya iliyotamba inazidi kutamba na ambayo tunaitambariza zaidi.
Exactly, and as always msisahau, lazima tuwapatie burudani yenye vitamin extra.
Tunatambulika kwa mandhari yetu ya kuvutia,
tamaduni zetu, ukarimu wetu, vyakula vyetu, uchapakazi,
na pia kwa sauti tofauti za watangazaji wetu waliobobea.
Libengo niko hapa aka upcoming sponsor, bila shaka hapa ni kama Pedeshe, ma Deep State, pia vile Cartels.
Tunaenzi talanta za pwani, tunakuza talanta za hapa kwetu nyumbani.
Tell a friend to tell a friend. Tuko mjengoni kama kawa na wanangu wengine wawili.
Usikose kutegea 103.1 Pwani FM, station ambayo itakupa fursa ya kupata uhondo kamili wa pwani na kuleta Wakenya pamoja.
Pwani FM, tafrija ya kipwani.
Welcome to Channel 1 News Check. Thank you so much for keeping us company. Just in case you joined us, we are looking at youth in governance. And now my bench or my panel is fully constituted. Now we are also welcoming Honorable Senator Hezina Lematian, who is a nominated senator. Karibu sana to the program.
Thank you so much, Troy.
Yes, and before we throw you into the deep end, we are looking at youth inclusion in governance. It's also a good thing that I'm having two youthful legislators here to just try and push this agenda. We are trying to look at the question is, are young people truly included in leadership, or are we merely represented? Yeah, we ask what meaningful youth inclusion should look like and who is responsible in making that happen. They have the numbers, they have the voice, they have the strength, they have basically they have everything, but unfortunately the numbers that we are seeing in a leadership position are not encouraging. Mheshimiwa, in your way or in one sentence, what does meaningful youth inclusion in governance mean?
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure being here, and I think in my view, as a champion for the youth, since I was campaigning, and now that I sit as the youth senator, it is only very important and prudent for me to say that we don't have enough youth inclusion in our leadership. And it will be selfish for me to say otherwise, even if I sit there. I think meaningful youth inclusion would mean ensuring that, first of all, there is respect put to the youth of this country, knowing very well they form the largest demographic in this country. They are the largest constituency. And you saw through the Gen Z protest that the youths, if they decide to shut this country down, they would actually do that. Now, when I talk about respect, what do I mean? There are things in our country that are just white paper. They are like white paper lies, whereby we have our constitution that secures some, for example, when it comes to allocation of tenders, we have tenders that are supposed to be reserved for the youth, for the PWDs, and for the women. But what do you find? Older people registering to get these contracts using the name of the youth, and this youth could be a relative, a child, or anybody, or just a random illiterate person. But someone has used their documents to register and benefit in the name of the youth. And then we have opportunities in state agencies and state institutions where they say that there must be inclusion in diversity. All communities must be represented, including the small communities. There should be at least a youth. There should be the gender consideration, the 2/3 gender. But how many institutions are actually implementing what is stipulated in our constitution? When it comes to the leadership spaces, we have really worked hard, and I'm happy to see my brother Lemingit here. Because we are both members of the Kenya Young Parliamentarians Association. But I can tell you for free, during our very inaugural meetings as KYPA, where I serve as the treasurer, we have actually had a common introduction during the first meeting, where every young member of parliament was saying, I thought I would make miracles happen when I will be brought to this house as a young parliamentarian, knowing very well that most of us are fresh term, we are new. And I think we are the 4th largest caucus, an association in parliament. Now, most of us thought, now that we are here, they will start respecting the youth and make sure whatever we are fighting for the youth will be achieved. But what happened? When it comes to the actual decision making and leadership, within even committee levels, for instance, you find that you will be told you will not get some of the strongest committees, which are very critical in the decision making of this country. For example, pick and pack. Reason being, you are young. You will be sent to committees that will not amplify the voice of youth. So the most critical committees in these houses are reserved for the ranking members, who most of them are not youth. You will not find a youth who's a ranking member, because ranking means 2-3 terms serving as MP or senator. So what does that mean? We have been deliberately and institutionally excluded. When it comes to the, and it's funny because they will use age as the reason why you will not get anything. I remember I have never been given any committee that I requested to be part of, knowing very well my talents and strengths professionally and with my giftedness. I was refused to get, none of those committees was given to me, and this is the story of many young parliamentarians. Now, I remember even when we had an election for sports committees. So I remember telling my colleagues, so you mean I can't also be the captain of the basketball team because I'm young? What do you mean? You're giving somebody to chair a committee like that when they can barely they don't even know how to play the game. And then, so those are some of the issues. And then when you come now to the executive, the cabinet positions, the PS positions, how many of them are youth? I think when the top organs or top players in leadership in this country make a deliberate decision to ensure that the youth have a fair playing ground, knowing very well that we are the majority voters. And this should actually be a threat, because in 2027, more youth have registered to vote. Unlike before, because I remember during campaigns, they will tell me, yeah, you are representing the youth in this campaign and trying to bring the youth vote in this campaign. But do you know many of the youth are not registered? Did you know that most of the youth do not even vote? They are out clubbing on the day when they're supposed to vote, and they will rave until morning. So they will not even show up. Many of them will deliberately tell me this. And some of us are low-key happy with what happened with the Gen Zs, because now it was a wake-up call. The rubber started meeting the road there, because now people are starting to know, oh, so we should actually respect this young generation, because they have been triggered, they are bitter with something, and they are willing for a change. Now, assuming the presidency deliberately makes, how many cabinet secretaries do we have? We have 20? 22, yes. 22 or 24. 22. So assuming at least 10 of them are young people, knowing very well, when you say you want to serve this country and achieve your manifesto or your plans and programs for this country, put the people who are wearing the shoe and who know where the shoe pinches. Because who are you serving? You are serving Kenyans. Who are the majority Kenyans? They are the young people. So let them do what they want to do. I remember one time the youth were saying that we cannot use outdated systems or techniques to sort the problems of today. Who is suffering? Who is bearing the brunt of the problems of today? It's the young people in Kenya. So what do? Let them solve their problems. But I'm glad with what the regime of the day is doing. There are so many programs that have been put in place, but I just wish that in these decision-making tables, when it comes to the implementation, the youth are at the forefront of ensuring that we can do this, because we have a language that only us can communicate and understand each other. Thank you.
Allow me to use this question just because Mheshimiwa has given quite a good and elaborate picture of maybe how Parliament is and how the youth are being incorporated. Mheshimiwa, I would want to know exactly the two of you are in the youth caucus in Parliament. What exactly are you doing to ensure that in 2027 there are more numbers than you have right now? Allow me to begin with you, Justice.
Okay. That has not been my focus right now, honestly speaking.
Okay.
Because
you don't want more numbers, the youthful numbers in 2027?
I mean, that has not been my focus at the moment. But I have a number of youth that I'm mentoring. Like, you know, like I told you about my story, I was mentored by someone.
Yes.
Where I became his assistant online, social media, and then a PA at some point, learn one or two things about politics and leadership. Here I am right now. So I have a number of people, like probably my PA, people who they run errands here and there. I am hopeful they learn from me. So we have other aspiring leaders out there for MCS positions, for MP positions. I try also to nurture them, because I act as a role model. I'm actually a role model, and I want to urge all the other leaders out there so that when in leadership, they don't just see you as an administrator, as a legislator, as a political leader, but also as a role model, so that we be of sound character. I think that is generally mentorship in the process, summed up together. So I've always been advising them on how to go about it, not necessarily money. I also get mentorship from people like the people I look up to, like the president of this country, and kind of forth. So I probably transfer of knowledge. But what I wanted to say is on the presidency, you know, we need, they say, institutional memory. And I like my history teacher in high school, they used to say, history is a good subject because you learn of the past and the present so that you can predict the future. But also politics is not only theoretical, it's practical. You have to have had the past experience, the present experience, so that you know where you can lead the country. So, and I want to agree the way we need someone who is experienced. Experience is key. Someone who is being tried and tested. And not necessarily as a new entrant. You have to have had experience in one way or another. You can't just say, wake up one day and you know you are very eloquent in speaking and say, I want to be a leader. Somehow, even if you've not demonstrated any kind of services or experiences, at least your family would recognize that you are a leader. At least your village, your church could recognize that you are a leader. At least your school. So you just expound. Because many a times people would ask, well, you go campaigning out there, people would ask, this guy, how is he back home? People say, no, that guy is a lazy guy. He's not determined. He's a con man. Basically, you will not be re-elected. You will not be elected in any way, and you will not take up any leadership position. So I agree with the Senator that we still need to create avenues that we can include youth in leadership. Probably my good friend here, Frida, would come up with programs that are geared towards only political leadership. Like I mentioned to you, Njue, that we have different leadership in terms of business, entrepreneurs going forward. But maybe the people would still want to customize on something on political leadership. But you still also need to remember, no one would want to lose a seat, a political seat in his space. People would still shy off in some position. Like, hey, it could be I'm growing a snake, and when it grows up, it would easily bite me. You never know. I'm just giving an example like that. So people, for me, I believe that in the experience that I have right now, because I was still learning on the job, basically, I will still request my people out there to give me another opportunity to exercise the experience that I have. And then now, for me, I need also to mentor someone who will take up that position.
Come up with
so I have similar plans for them.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Senator,
yes.
what exactly are you guys doing to ensure that not only do you have the numbers, but you also have the say? We would like to see maybe you are the Justice and Constitutional Affairs Committee Chair.
Thank you so much, and I wish I was, but I was speaking actually from my experience, which is the experience of many young parliamentarians, on how we've been strategically marginalized when it comes to committee allocations. We are put in those, there are committees they consider they are just there, you know. Of course, the work, the roles they undertake are very critical, but there are those committees that are really push you to the front, expose you, and bring you into the actual conversation of how this country is being run. And you have seen the spat between the governors and senators in some of these committees like PAC. It's very hard to get a young person there. And anyway, I wanted to add to the question that you have asked my brother, because I'm in the leadership of KYPA. We have had very many engagements with the Kenya Young MCS Forum, Association, sorry. We've had so many meetings with them, so many workshops and conferences, and we have a partnership with them to ensure that because many MCAs in Kenya are young people. I think that's one place where many young people get elected. I think because of the magnitude of campaigns that is involved and the financial muscle. So we realized most of them have the potential to lead, to grow and be better leaders in future, or bigger leaders in future. And because it's a starting ground for young people, for many young people, We ensure that we have a constant engagement with them, expose them to mentorship opportunities, support and training opportunities. We also sometimes fight for their rights. And I'm happy to sit in the Committee of Devolution and Intergovernmental Relations, because it's the committee that is in charge and responsible for protecting and amplifying the role of devolution in our country. And we have ensured that we have had issues where the KYMCA, the MCAs have now 2 forums. They have KYMCA and they have Kenya MCAs something. So it's all come up because of a dispute in how much they are being paid. Their salary was slashed, I think by 3/4 since the last regime, not now. I think the second term of Uhuru Kenyatta, President Uhuru Kenyatta, and we have been trying to look for a way for their compensation or remuneration to be brought up again. We have so many engagements with them. We have a partnership as KYPA and KYMCA, and then we also engage a lot of youth leaders and opinion leaders, especially young people who are involved in politics all over the country. We have a constant engagement with them. We have, for example, we have invited them almost 3 times to the Senate. We have made them have the experience and taste of what it means to be in the Senate. I remember there was a whole two times where we brought them, we sat them, it was like a whole Senate ongoing. There is a speaker, there is the clerks, there is a sergeant at arms, and they were contributing motions. And then we also brought other young leaders within the region, the East African region, and they came together. So they were on the minority side, and our Kenyan young leaders were on the other side, and they got to have a taste of what an experience in the August House feels like. And to me, I think that's a grand opportunity for mentorship, because looking at some of us, there is a certain gap that exists between leadership and young people, whereby I usually try to, you say, I like the way European politicians behave. You are a simple person. You don't have to walk around with 30 guards guarding you. You don't have to have, I don't know how many chess cars. It's so dramatic and hypocritical. Because I believe leadership is about service to the people. You are literally a servant of the people, because it is God who put you there. So what you need to do is be humble and show these people that you are at their disposal to serve. And we have tried that as Kenya young MPs. I think less than 2 or 3 of the young parliamentarians members will be seen with a lot of chess cars and a lot of dramatized arrival or something like that. So we interact with them a lot, and I think the opportunity to bring them to Parliament, make them sit in our tables, in our chairs, have lunch, move around Parliament because like it's their own premises, they are members. We tell them to feel for 12 hours that they are actually members of Parliament. It's a good experience. Some of us never had that opportunity. Coming from where I come from, Samburu County, getting or accessing a politician was a nightmare. In fact, they will see you and roll their windows up. Or there will be people pushing you, don't touch that person. Like that person is made of some sort of gold that cannot be contaminated. So we are trying to bond with the young people, be there. I remember when the Gen Z visited Parliament and they said that there was no salt in the food.
Oh, the Gen Z
they say these people don't have salt. I've been trying to bring, at a personal level, many young people to come to Parliament for lunch, experience what it feels. And I've told them, you see, now we restored the salt in the food.
Anyway, allow me to pick from where Senator is hitting on the head, and I love it.
I love it.
Because even talking about what we are seeing, in Europe you find a prime minister in a train with anybody else, but in Kenya you see Mheshimiwa going to his place in Nandi. He doesn't have one car.
Don't forget, I got here through a motorbike.
You came here through a motorbike. Even better.
I think that's why he was early, because there was a lot of traffic.
No,
he's one of the good ones.
I try to live a simple life.
He's one of the good ones.
You know, we have a bigger mass of people who elected us are still living way below.
Some didn't even have breakfast.
Yes, I know. You wait and see Trevor, Njue out there, how people, sometimes even you would want to appreciate something, mkule leo ya soda. You would see how they can even snatch that 100 bob like it's everything in their lives. So we still have to be live to the fact that there's still a lot of economic challenges out there. And then we want to encourage the youth not only to just focus on the political leadership alone. There are still very good opportunities in terms of businesses and the programs that the country president has put forth, including the ICT, where I also encourage through the NGCDF programs that we are doing at the moment, the Nyota, the Uwezo Fund. There are a number of youthful groups, youth groups that have given them money through the Uwezo Fund and Youth Fund. So there are many programs that the government has put in place, so that because politics sometimes is a gamble. It's a gamble. According to me, it's a gamble. Sometimes you think that you are a very good leader, but there are many others out there. So you come compete, you've used your resources sometimes, and you fail. I'm not like warning or it's just a caution, so that there are leadership in different fields. Thank you.
Yes. I also wanted you to touch on, you're also looking at the civic engagement and social media and technology. I'll take you back to 2002 when I first voted, and we didn't have social media, we didn't have all these, a lot of mobilization. And with the due respect to the leaders, my MP back then was Njue Gadango, who used to be a second liberation freedom fighter. And we put yet another, we didn't put a young person. And I remember the campaigns were really, really, you know, up there. We put the former governor of Embu, Martin Wambora, then when he was seeking a seat for an MP. But I voted in every cycle. I think one or two. I haven't voted because of the nature of my work. But I've noted that civic engagement, social media is playing a key role in ensuring that we are bringing the young people to the table. But how should the youth now organize beyond social media? We do remember even the Gen Z protest. We're saying the leaderless, you know, faceless, you know, the partyless. How can we move beyond this narrative to put these leaders, just like Mheshimiwa said, into positions? Not only the political positions. We have so many positions that that they can make a mark.
Yeah. Before I answer that question, Ben Troy, I'll like to build up on what our good Mheshimiwas have presented. I mean, Mheshimiwa Kipto is, in a way, running away from the very word that these frustrations that is happening, when he asked the question at Frida, what systems are not working? Can you name them? His system where he sits is not working, clearly, because Senator here has mentioned the kind of frustration that is happening there. So actually age is a reason for you to be moved out of the table because they consider you incompetent, inexperienced. So that is a frustration. That is actually a perfect example of an institution that is not working. Because then if you are fit, you have the merit, you are competent for a position, you can even lead a committee. It does not mean that age is what determines who sits in a what position and who does not. Yeah, so that is one example of a system or an institution that is not working at large.
But I'd given an example of the finance committee chair. He's a very youthful guy.
That among the many.
It's the substance, what are you made of? But there's still a challenge. I acknowledge it's still a challenge.
Good.
Thank you.
Good.
Not young.
Yeah, youthful. So again, when I talk about NYC, when you're talking about mentorship, NYC is one avenue for real mentorship. There is the Kenya Young Parliamentarians Association. That is when you have, I mean, it's hierarchy, it's stairs, the way you climb a stairway. NYC is the most immediate one that young people are supposed to access for representation, for nurturing, for mentorship, before we groom them for real elections or rather real representation. So NYC for the 100th time this time, we do not have an election. It was postponed. We still got a statement that they are going to have the elections. So I mean, there is a kuja ni kuvute, vuta ni kuvute. It's not clearly communicated whether the National Youth Council elections are going to be done to be run. This tells you that young people are institutionally, systematically, and strategically sidelined from positions of what? Of leadership. I can give a good example of a young lady that sits in a political party run by the Mike Movie Sonko. This young lady resigned from being a deputy party leader, went ahead to run for a position in the National Youth Council, but unfortunately, imagine someone resigning from where they're employed to come run for a position, and then we wake up tomorrow and they are told, do you know these elections have been postponed? Behold the level of frustration that young people are facing. So this is one of the challenges. When you're talking about mentorship, that waheshimiwa have to run away from young people and wanapandisha vioo vya gari, this tells you that they know that they're systematically and strategically sidelining these young people and calling them on board when there is need of people that are wamekula vizuri, wapigane, wafanye nini, that is when they are brought on board. They're not brought on board for real reasons and policy making and things that affect them. That is in regards to what? To the NYC.
Yes.
Well, you've given you've sent me a question when you've asked that digitally we have moved digital, and I've told you this year politics is digital, despite the fact that the current government and the people that speak for them will insist that siasa ipigiwe mtandao si nini. I mean, really, you've seen young people mobilize themselves to even oust a government. You saw what happened in the Gen Z movement. That was purely done on social media. If that could happen, this tells you how much young people have learned that this is a tool that they can use to ensure change in their country. So they're calling themselves together to register for what? For voter registration. And we expect this, I like it that Senator is positive that come 2027, we expect to have more young people. For how much enthusiasm they've put into this particular course this time. It's a joke. Someone will tell you that Megeuza Badis is a young, beautiful woman who does not really want to tap into politics as much. Megeuza Badis wanafanya siasa. Why is that the case? We thought we'd sit pretty at home and things would be working. But now we've realized Badis have been turned into what? Activists. They have to go into the streets to ensure for change. Otherwise, if you sit pretty back at home, they come for you back in the house. It will come for you where you are seated. So, of course, young people are engaging digitally. Young people have learned that this is a tool they can use to run a whole campaign, to even go ahead and vote. And I like it that the president mentions about digital voting and everything, knowing so well the people that is dealing with currently are people that are digital gurus.
Yeah, I think we will have to, to take a long time. Because time was also running out. We also need, there's an event that we also need to cross over to Embo. But I would want to you guys to just, in a summary, what exactly needs to be done now? Because we just can't keep on leaving out the youth. And the youth also, they also need to tell us what exactly they need, because since the Gen Z 2024 revolution and saying no, they are partyless, tribeless, but we haven't seen them organize something that can show exactly we are ready. Mheshimiwa, let's begin there.
Thank you very much. That's very important. What needs to be done? First of all, I need us to clearly distinguish facts. They say the fish rots from the head. But in our country, clearly, the fish is not rotting from the head. Some of the intestines, some of the kidneys of this fish are rotting. And what do I mean by that? Some problems that are facing the young people in this country and marginalizing them are institutionalized, such that no matter what president comes in, there are systems that are already in place. And these systems are called cartels. And they are being run by very junior people within those ranks. Not junior in the sense of age, junior in the sense of what position they occupy. For example, my sister here has spoken about a failed institution. The institution of Senate and Parliament is not failed, but there are some people who are rotten within that institution. And therefore, no matter how much the institution will try to do, they will drag it down. There are so many programs that have been put in place by the current administration under President William Ruto, like the Nyota, like the opening up of opportunities to employ young people within and without, abroad, the jobs that have been open. I was in the EU Parliament the other day, and they told me that they have a written agreement, a memorandum of understanding and partnership with Kenya for employment among their various countries. We are basically opening up opportunities outside this country for our young people. With the affordable housing, many young people have gotten employment, casual laboring, supplies and all. I have friends who are supplying things to affordable housing, my actual friends, who are not even connected to powerful people. So opportunities are opening up. But I like that because finally we are making a step in the right direction. But what do we need to do? One, I always maintain we need to fight corruption in this country. We need to be deliberate. The big players in this country, the big boys, need to be deliberate about locking and jailing the rogue people, whether in parliament, whether in the executive, wherever they are in this country. Corrupt people. I remember recently I was elected to be the vice chair of KEWOSA, Kenya Women Senators, alongside a chair lady. Now, one of my colleagues deliberately told me, you know, you guys, you change this leadership. You are not wrong. You are, the word was like, nyinyi si wakora, me and my chair, hamtatengeneza pesa like others did. Wow. So I was like, wow, that is very daring. Yes. But then that gives you a picture of what happens. There are people, when they get a certain leadership of a committee, they will use the opportunity for self-enrichment. But there is still hope in this country that our youth can see that there are leaders who are genuine about actual change, and they are not interested with self-enrichment, because there is enough sunshine for everybody. We only rise by lifting others, and the moment we start electing people without being bribed, with a straight sobriety of mind in this country as young people, is the day we will change. We must be able to see through people's outward facade. We must be able to distinguish and pray for that gift of discernment, because we are now approaching those times where people will be so humble to fool people, and then once they are done, once they are elected back, because they have been fooled for maybe alcohol, for some handout, cheap stuff. I wish the young people of Kenya will go the Olkalau way and actually be able to distinguish between propaganda and reality. Dissect all leaders, even if it is President William Ruto. Sit down and forget about your tribal political inclinations, your tribal kingpins and warlords. Just dissect every leader and see, did this person deliver, yes or no? Unless we do that as young people, because change starts from within. And like I said, Parliament is a sample representation of what every Kenyan is about. If there is a thief in Parliament, there is a certain demographic that took them there, okay? If there is a prostitute in Parliament, there is a certain demographic that took that person there. If there is a murderer, there is a certain people, a big group that voted their fellow murderer there. So if we sanitize our minds and ourselves, we sanitize every other institution. Thank you.
Wow.
Beautiful.
Mheshimiwa,
yes.
Can you pick up from that pace? Eh?
Okay, now.
Well said, well said. Okay. We really need to sanitize.
Okay. So on my last remarks would be, I would like to let the youth of this country that don't wait to be invited to take up a leadership position. Lazima ujitume. Leadership is about service, not entitlement. So you have to go. Push in there, and don't be enticed by, lured into politics, using money into goonism and kind of things. You have to study, look at the three sides of the coin before you make judgment. And I acknowledge that politics this time round, social media will play a critical role, because we are in the social information age, computer age, social media age, and the AI age. So we cannot actually overlook that fact. And as a bigger mass of a youthful generation in this country, we have the power to change this country. But however, there's a lot of negativity on social media, which has actually overlooked the good intentions of this government led by William Samoei Ruto. You listen to a lot of criticism all through, because people have been frustrated in a few ways, especially the youth who are unemployed. And because criticism sounds, it is better, it is easy to criticize than to actually act. So I would like to request the youth of this country to look at and study very well what is the kind of leadership they want in individuals. Do you want performance? Do you just want criticism? Like the agenda that we have is must go, or you really want someone who will add into creating employment for this country, giving strategies on how to create, to finish the corruption menace. And I want to appreciate government. When the president entered into office recently, he did, the first thing he wanted to do is digitize all the government services. Right now we have 23,000 digitized government services. What does it mean, Njue? It means the paperwork where a lot of corruption used to take place has been reduced. I heard recently 15 billion lost through e-citizen. But it is better because it can be traced. Previously, you don't know how much used to get lost.
Actually, you also need to trace
it is ongoing, and you know there are also
cyber
cybersecurity issues and wherever. It's being worked on. Another thing in Njue on the same thing is creating these opportunities on employment. You see the president is always asking the people to go to EGP in terms of procurement because he knows most of the corruption cases happen in tenderpreneurs and probably executive. But you can't kill once because it's a system. It just came in. So he needs EGP because most of the government tenders were never done. But through the system, now they will be traced and be done. Otherwise, on my final engagement is we will have this country remaining. Kenya is here to stay. Presidents come and go. The previous president wanted to take us to Canaan. The current president that we have, we give an opportunity to take us to Singapore. Once Frida comes in as the next president, he will take us to Mars. So let's remain peaceful and focused. Thank you.
All right. I don't know whether I have a minute or something. All right. My director informs me that we need to cross over to the great county of Embu, where smallholder irrigation project, the government is accelerating community irrigation projects in Embu, Kirinyaga, Tharaka Nithi, and Meru. Principal Secretary in the State Department for Irrigation, Fantas Kemodo, is currently on that bit, and my colleague Abdiaziz Hashim is following up on that. Let's cross over to county number 14, Embu County, for that function. Many thanks indeed for joining us on this edition of News Tech.
Well, thank you so much, Bentro Njue, there from our studios. Today we had the opportunity to visit your great county, which is Embu County, early as morning as 7 a.m. We had the opportunity to speak to some of the farmers under this particular ambitious program that has been launched by the State Department of Irrigation, known as the Smallholder Project, that was launched, costing about over 20 million euros to, of course, support some of the initiatives the government is doing to ensure that the irrigation acreage ahead of 2028 all the way to 2029 is expanded to over 2 million, of course, supporting the agricultural sector, food security, as well as ensuring that the farmers at least are making a living. Now, this particular project that was started in this particular Mount Kenya region has been able to target 4 counties, to be specifically, that is Embu, we have Tharaka Nithi, we have Meru, and now currently we are here in Kirinyaga County, which has been expanding the acreage, the land under irrigation, and of course targeting thousands of households which are coming from, of course, bigger farms in this particular greater region of the Mount Kenya region, to ensure that they continue with what they're able to produce. Now, early in the morning, we had the opportunity to speak to a farmer who was at least farming cabbages. We had the opportunity to also visit another farm that we witnessed, and you will see in just a few, two teacher retirees who are focusing on growing tomatoes, which of course they're clearly stating that it is bringing and earning a lot of money for them under this particular initiative that was kick-started by the State Department for Irrigation. Now, before we enter and you see what the farmers were able to say, let's talk about the financial structure of this particular model. It is a 50-50 cost burden sharing model that was kick-started by the irrigation department, where the farmers are contributing 50% of the fund, while the government is contributing 50%, the other 50% in conjunction with other key development partners that are working with them, i.e. that is KFW and other key private institutions that are working with the Department of Irrigation. And of course, that particular model is what has been inculcated into this particular project for the last 2 years or so in those 4 counties that I was talking about. Given that we witnessed what the farmers were doing in Embu, your great county, the farmers were talking about in terms of they had to contribute an initial 10% to show how serious they are in, of course, targeting this particular initiative to ensure that they're also taken seriously. Months ago, we had the opportunity to speak to the irrigation principal secretary, that is Fantas Kemodo, who confirmed the reason why they have to at least to bring about 10% of the initial funds is to show that they're serious and they do not want laxity, so that the project can be sustainable at the end of the day. And also, these projects are 24 of them in numbers. When we last spoke with the Principal Secretary, he told us 24 out of the 24, 19 have been completed. 4 are supposed to be completed by December before the government moves this particular project in another area they had targeted. Initially, when we spoke to him, he told us that they're looking at the vast western region, which is known for its agricultural produce. Given that this project is also bringing about, in terms of resources, a key commodity, which is water, we have witnessed one intake in Embu, and also we'll get a chance to see what those intakes will be also be inculcated into the farming situation in this particular region. But before I continue in informing you what is happening, let's get to hear from the farmers we spoke to earlier on in Embu County.
Na enye au unapata hapo mbeleni. Niliona kulingana na customer demand na supply kwa our local markets. Ilikuwa na cabbage ina peak, alafu cabbage inahitaji mahitaji mingi sana. Cost yake ya production iko low. Mimi niliamua kuingia kwa hii sector na nilime kilimo, na sio ati kulima tu. Kulima kilimo biashara. So hii mali imenipa hapa yangu ya kula ni ya kuuza na ndio nipate faida. Ile kitu nyingine ilifanya ilisaidia kuingia na kufaulu ni uwezekano wa maji, ambapo hapo tukua na maji ya irrigation hata kidogo. Inaweza si wa kulima tunjitume shambani. Mashamba iko na pesa. Population ya Kenya ina very high rate na mashamba iongezeki. So food inakuwa ni challenge.
Tunalima nyanya na tulianza hii kazi miaka 10 iliyopita. Tulikuwa tunalimia Ugweri, lakini sasa tumesema tujaribu hapa kwa hii zone. Na tumeona inafanya vizuri. Hii variety inaitwa Lafano na kuna variety ingine pia inaitwa Azo. Those two varieties tumeona zimefanya vizuri. Hii mmea tulipanda April 17th, imechukua miezi 3 na sasa tumeanza kuvuna. Tayari tumevuna kilo about 400. Changamoto tuko nayo sasa ni ya bei, sababu kama sasa bei imeenda chini, lakini tunatarajia tukipanda mmea mwingine itapata bei mzuri. Hiyo ingine ni kazi ya kutunza. Tuko na maji ya gatene imetusaidia sana. Sasa hiyo ingine ni dawa ya fango, dawa ya hii inaitwa worms, lakini mmea imefanya vizuri. Tumeona itatusaidia wakati wetu tumestaafu. Hii mlandi imetufanisha vizuri sana, sababu kwanza inatuweka tukawa busy. Number 2, mambo ya uchumi, tuko na at least something to keep us going na tunapata fedha kutoka kwa huu mlandi. Chenye labda tungependa kusaidiwa nayo ni kama sasa tuko na maji, lakini fedha sasa ya kuifanya mmea ikome na ikue na mpaka wakati wa kuvuna. Hiyo tungependa usaidizi. Usaidizi wa dawa, usaidizi wa fertilizer, manure, hiyo yote. Sababu mmea ni maji, mmea na fertilizer na dawa. Na hizo sana sana kwa mkulima inakuwa changamoto. Kitu ingine ni soko. Soko pia inakuwa changamoto kwa sisi.
Nimeona kilimo imenisaidia kwa kuelimisha watoto wangu wote, wakaelimika na wakaenda. Alafu bado naendelea na kufanya kazi zingine hapa nyumbani. Kwa hivyo siwezi nikasema ati kilimo haina faida. Kwanza mimi nafurahi sana nikiona vijana wadogo wakijiingiza kwa kilimo, kwa sababu wengi ni wale ambao wanapoteza muda wao mwingi bila kazi yoyote. Mimi ningewahimiza waingilie mambo ya kilimo, kwa sababu kilimo itawasaidia. Kilima nyanya kidogo kama hii sehemu kidogo hivi, takulipia bill zako za maji, bill za stima, na hata mambo ya hospitali, changamoto ya elimu kwa watoto, na pia kujinafuzisha mambo ya chakula, haitakuwa changamoto.
Well, you have just heard there, Ben, Troy, Njue. Those were farmers in Embu County where we got a chance to visit them as early as 7 a.m. in terms of how this smallholder project has been able to benefit them in a number of ways. Currently, we are coming to you live from Kirinyaga County. It is also one of the key counties that has been targeted under the smallholder project. And of course, this particular project, which has been implemented in 4 counties, has costed over 20 million euros to ensure its success at the end of the day. And of course, this has been the particular situation. And of course, the farmers that I told you earlier on are over thousands of them. The last time we spoke to the Principal Secretary from the State Department of Irrigation, that is Fantas Kimotho, he told us that this targets not only farmers but the households that are surrounding those particular areas, and in terms of ensuring that they benefit at the end of the day from this particular projects. Now, in Kirinyaga County, it has also targeted a number of farmers in this particular area, growing from a variety of from maize, tomatoes and cabbages, which you've witnessed there in Embu County. In Kirinyaga, also the situation has been like that, but in Kirinyaga County, it's famously known for its rice, especially Mwea Tabera, which has been known for a long time, which has been contributing to the rice production here in the country. And of course, some of the issues that the farmers were raising is access to market, which has been, of course, amped up due to the various roads, the connections that are being built to ensure that the produce reach the markets on time. The pricing has also been another situation that they have been raising at the end of the day, so as to ensure that the farmers get the maximum benefit from this particular initiative. Now, of course, let's get more from the Principal Secretary. Given that you heard from the farmers earlier this morning, let's get to hear from the Principal Secretary from the State Department of Irrigation. Thank you, PS, for joining us, and welcome to KBC Channel 1. Currently, the smallholder project has been implemented in 4 counties, Kirinyaga County being among those counties. Just tell us the progress, because the last time we spoke, you told us out of the 24, 19 have been completed, 4 are to be completed by December. Tell us the progress, PS.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. Today we're here at Kandeki Irrigation Project. It's one among the 5. Actually, there are 5. The 5 are the ones which we've done. We actually signed this contract sometimes in July 2023, and immediately after the program started. The program has actually covered the 4 counties, just as you put it, and so far it has covered 1,300 acres. And now all the 5 projects are complete, and all the farmers are actually utilizing the water in the irrigation. But one of the most important things about this smallholder program is the uniqueness about it is that the farmer also contributes towards the irrigation infrastructure. A situation where you find how the program has been structured, the farmer raises 10%. For example, assuming the project is 100 million, farmers would be expected to raise 10%, which is like 10 million. So if there are 1,000 farmers, each should raise 10,000. Then after that, now they are put together into a cooperative. Then after that, the government now comes in to also give a grant of now the 40%, now to make it 50%. Then the 50%, the farmers are given a loan. And in this case, the loan, in this particular program, the loan was actually given by Equity Bank. And from the previous 19 projects which have been done and completed, farmers are given a grace period for the loan. But later, the farmers are able, we've seen farmers are able, they're supposed to pay the loan for 7 years, but they end up paying the loan within 3 years, meaning the project is successful. One example, the last time we were here, I think I can't remember seeing one of the farmers that we met who has an acre, was saying that before irrigation, he used to do approximately, he used to make 5 bags of maize at an average price of 3,000. So he used to make 15,000 in a whole year. But after he got water, the farmer now was able to, last time he was giving us his testimony, he was saying he can do like 200 crates of tomatoes, which now on average 1 crate will cost you 4,000. So you can imagine now that 4,000 times 200, that's around 800,000. So that shows you the impact from 15,000 to 800,000 just because of having water, and also the fact that the farmers are now part and parcel of the contribution. It ensures there is that ownership. When there is ownership, then it also ensures sustainability, because the farmers are able to work hard so they can pay back the loan. So the process means they pay operation and maintenance, which is normally a big challenge in most of their projects. And that's why we want to actually have the same model replicated elsewhere. Recently, we just came from Germany, whereby we successfully, together with the PS Treasury, we successfully signed a contract of 20 million euro for the Western region. We also want to adopt the same model. It is actually the success of this project that enabled KFW to add as a new loan of 20 million euros. But in that, we also requested for an additional 2 million euros for us to be able to do capacity building, because they might not have been used to the same model of these farmers in this region. So this is a success, and the success is being replicated elsewhere. And soon, this will also be going to other countries globally.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And going back to that instance, you've just talked about Germany, because the last time we spoke, you told us you were targeting 7 counties within the Western region, and you are targeting at least 85 million euros. Is 20 million euros enough, and an additional 2 million euros to cover the expansive Western region?
I think they were a bit conservative. Mm-hmm. They said they just want to see the start, but we believe once we work very well within the 20 million, there'll still be room for us to expand even slightly. But our target was 85. 85 million was all to cover all the 7 counties. But now we'll be able to cover at least 25% of each and every county. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And in terms of what the farmers have been able to tell you, the successes, of course, the challenges that have come out from those 4 counties here in Kirinyaga County, what are those underlying issues that needs to be corrected before you move this particular project now to the Western region?
Actually, here now the challenge we have is water, because what we are looking at now, we are looking at the slightly over obstruction. So, and for us to address that now, that's why we need to continue building more dams, like the construction of Diba Dam, which was done some 2 years back, has really enabled us to even scale up the irrigation from more irrigation scheme. You know, before we used to do 25,000 acres. Now, after doing the dam, we were able to go up to that 5,000, and more important, do a double season. So meaning we are now doing 70,000 acres. Before we were only doing 25,000 acres. So the same thing. One of the biggest challenges you have in this area is now the issue of water. So with the dams which we are actually having in our plan, that will also be able to scale up and help us deal with the irrigation. But now in the Western region, we have a different challenge, because now most of them have not previously been used to this model whereby you are doing co-sharing, and that's why there will be starting instead of here we are doing 50% loan and 50% grant. Mm-hmm. We are considering doing 30% loan and 70% grant as we move slowly by slowly as they get used to the whole value chain process.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And now, given the final question now, given that the farmers are from Western and all the parts of the country, aside from Western Kenya, if this project that has been that successful in Mount Kenya, now moving to Western Kenya, what other parts of the country, if successful in Western as well, are you going to target? And also talk to the farmers, because you only have 2 minutes.
Yeah, so I think first, the reason why we chose Western, because of in Western Kenya we have a lot of land and also have enormous sources of water. But immediately we have the success of that area, we're also looking at targeting also the coastal region. The coastal region is also a very good target. So for us, it's just to tell the farmers that we continually remain committed to building water infrastructure, to water harvesting, and also at the same time working closely with the Ministry of Trade, so that we can be able to get aggregators and be able to give farmers a market, so that they can have the ability to pay back operational maintenance and be able to maintain this infrastructure, and for them to continue helping us address the challenge of food security and at the same time empower the farmers.
Thank you so much. It's also always a pleasure speaking
to you.
Thank you for making time for us. I heard it from the Principal Secretary from the State Department of Irrigation, that is CPA Fantas Kimoto, on the progress of the smallholder projects that is ongoing within the Mount Kenya region. He has just confirmed they have secured 20 million euros to, of course, be inculcated in the western part of the country, ensuring that out of the 7 counties, at least they get 25% of the shares of that particular funds. And also an additional, they are seeking an additional 2 million euros to ensure that that this particular project is that successful that has been witnessed in Mount Kenya, also in western part of the country. That concludes the news check. Don't go too far. Kurunzi Mashinani is up next. My name is Abdiaziz Hashim from Kirinyaga County for Channel 1.